Hey there, it's JP, and you're watching the absolute game of
Nerd!
In today's episode, I'm going to be showing off some of the comics I picked up at some local antique stores, local garage sales, some far-off antique stores and far-off gamer stores, and an online auction that showed up this past week. So check it out. Sensational Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man comics. Nothing great in there. There was one or two I saw, which is why I bought the auction. But books like Sensational Spider-Man. Here I got Spectacular Spider-Man. What is this? 183. Sensational Spider-Man 17. This must have been a run back in the late 90s. Checked all the books here, all the comics, and they didn't really have any real value in here. Maybe this Peter Parker 75th, but again, look at that. Forgot that the cover was coming off that one, so that's a worthless book right there. Another Spider-Man book here, Spectacular Spider-Man. Like I said, again, none of these books really had some tremendous value. Just came with a lot, and had to get them in order to get the books that I did want. The cool thing is that in that lot of probably these $1 or 50-cent books was this Prowler book with the movie coming out in a couple weeks. That was cool to see that one. I know that's no significance. You got another Spectacular Spider-Man, some Frogmen. I believe this book has some value just because it's first appearance of the disguised Spider Hornet, but nothing tremendous. This Marvel Team Up, an older 80s book, no real value there. Cool cover, but again, no real value. Little Mary Jane and Peter Parker together, but no value. This one I pulled off because it's #1 issue of the Sensational Spider-Man. It's not listed in the Key Comic Collector for being worth anything, but I always like to hold on to #1s, especially Spider-Man comic #1s, whatever they may be. But this book does have some value. Spectacular Spider-Man, what is this, 244? This is the first appearance of Kraven's son. So this one with the Kraven movie coming out, I don't know if the son's going to have any real significance in that movie, but this book got at least worth about 20 bucks. But the main book was this Web of Spider-Man 118. It is the direct version. I already have the newsstand. I wanted the direct version because I figured I could probably flip this one, given what I paid for the lot. I want to keep my newsstand one, so when I saw this one and I got it for the price I did, I just thought I had to have it. It's a cool book. I love this 90s cover. It's this typical 90s cover. but is the first appearance of the Scarlet Spider, not the first appearance of Ben Reilly. He was earlier in Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's 159 or 169 maybe, but still a cool book. So the next set of comics came from a couple antique stores, one that was about an hour away and one that was local. First book is the Fantastic Four. This is Marvel's Greatest Comics starring the Fantastic Four, number 92. This one is just a reprint of the Hulk Thing battle. Cool comic just for the fact that you get to see the original reprinted work of this comic, not having to spend hundreds to see it. So worth a couple dollars there. Next book is the hot book of the last couple weeks, the first appearance of the She-Thing. For $4, I'll grab it anytime, and I don't think the spec's true. I don't think Mila Kunis will be the next She-Thing or the She-Thing, but hey, I'll grab it just in case, because when you see it in front of you, you heard it on the different podcasts, you got to grab it. So next book is New Mutants 85. This is one of the first works or joint works of McFarlane and Liefeld. So you have Rob McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, that did this cover. They also did 80, I think it was 86 and 87. The famous 87 is the Cable first appearance, but I saw it and never saw this one before. So again, for $4, I'll grab it. Next one is Fantastic Four Volume 2, Number 1. This is Jim Lee's work. It's a newsstand from the early 2000s. That's part of the reason why I picked it up for $4. It's got the newsstand. It's number 1. It's a Jim Lee. It's Fantastic Four. Not a whole lot of value here, but again, I'm a big fan of Jim Lee, and Scott Williams did the inks on this. So it's just a cool looking cover. They did the whole comic too, so the cover matches the interior. But so I thought that was a cool pickup. The next one was at a local store near me, local antique store, and I got a nice run of Spawn books. So I'll show them all to you. I got Spawn 18, Spawn 26. Many of these are newsstand, which makes it even cooler for Spawn, because I never remember seeing these in the 7-Eleven or Giant Eagle or wherever you shopped at. But these were some of the coolest covers. I mean, between Greg Capullo and McFarlane, they did some tremendous cover work on Spawn. I think it's way underappreciated. But again, all newsstands, pretty cool. Next book was Medieval Spawn and Witchblade. It's got kind of a cool cover there. A little risque, but another newsstand book, so I figured I got to pick it up. And then these were a couple Spawn books that I wanted for myself that I don't have. These are not newsstands, but again, cool covers that McFarlane did with Capullo. This is the first appearance of Cygor. This is Spawn number 38. He's one of McFarlane's toys that he's made. This was his first appearance. And then can't go wrong with a Christmas Santa Claus Spawn. So pretty cool there. And the last Spawn book was Spawn number 50. I think it's always cool to have anniversary type issues. Never saw this one before. Kind of a homage to Spider-Man 300, which I think McFarlane did again at Spawn 300. He did a homage to Spider-Man 300, so this was an early one of that. Oh, forgot one here. Another Spawn number 53, another newsstand. So cool covers. Two other books that came in succession were World's Finest number 171 and World's Finest 172. Now this one is a cool story because this is a story if the Kent family had adopted Bruce Wayne as well. Now again, Batman and Superman were best friends back in the 50s and 60s, hence the World's Finest comic. But it would have been, it's a pretty cool story if the two of them were actually brothers. They do some fighting in here. I didn't really read all through it just yet, but it's a cool concept. So I thought this was a nice pickup. And the last one is one I never find or haven't found in the wild yet. Again, it's with the theme of the Kraven book, so I thought I had to grab it. It was Amazing Spider-Man. This is number 294, The Death of Kraven. Mike Zeck cover with black suit Spider-Man, and a cool story, a cool arc that was going through a bunch of the different Spider-Man titles at the time. So maybe I will read this arc given the movie that's coming out. So the next group of comics I got were at a garage sale on my way to do some grocery shopping. I saw the sign, stopped in, just a small box of comics, not a whole lot there, but I picked through the box and grabbed about 20 bucks worth of comics. First one is this Transformers #1. Not a whole lot of value there, but I thought with a new movie coming out, maybe with the Dinobots and these animal Transformers, I don't know the name of them. I wasn't a huge fan after Optimus Prime and that original run. I didn't stick around for much longer, but figured I'd grab the book. Next one was Venom 16. Some of this run do have some value, but this one did not. And the reason I grabbed it is, one, I thought it did, and my key collector wasn't working, so I didn't have any signal. That's why it wasn't working. So I just thought that was a good one to grab. The next one is another mess up. I thought this one might have been the Arthur Adams cover. You really can't confuse the two. I don't know why I did, but I did, and I quickly grabbed this one. It's still a cool cover, Scarlet Witch. Nice painting cover in that New Avengers run, but really no value there. The next one I thought may have had value too. I see this occasionally on various podcasts and YouTube videos, or hear about it on podcasts and see it on some YouTube videos, but no real value here on the She-Hulk book. The next to last one I got was the Superman #1. Not a whole lot of value here, but any Superman #1 I'm going to grab, given the James Gunn factor on DC. Not saying this one's going to jump in value, but I just thought it'd be cool to pick up because I was trying to get about 10 books for 20 bucks from that garage sale. And the last book, I know I got at least my money's worth out of it, is the World War Hulk #5. This is the first Scar in Marvel Comics. Really, his first appearance was in the What If, but this is in like the Marvel Universe, not in a What If scenario. So it is really cool cover. Finch, I don't know the artist. I'm going to look him up after this, but this is some great work on that cover. I'm digging the Sentry. I'm hoping he makes his way into the universe soon. But this is a cool cover, well drawn, cool book, like the World War Hulk series, so glad to pick this one up. Been looking for this one for quite some time. Now, while I was up grocery shopping, I went to the GamerStop store that's near me, and they have some comics, and I grabbed a few. These were all about $2 a piece. Green Lantern Emerald Dawn #1. This was a short series, I think 1 of 6, 1 of 10 maybe. Not a ton of value there. The other book that I did grab that does have some value is one I got earlier from that online auction that showed up this week, and that's the first appearance of Kraven's son in Spectacular Spider-Man 244. So hey, what's better than having one of that book? 2. So I'll take that. But the big score from that place was the Sailor Moon #35. This is the last issue in that series from the early 90s and early 2000s. This is a scarce book. I've heard it talked about on Bronze and Modern Gods. I know the San Diego Comic-Con #1 is the big one to get, but this last issue is also pretty cool to grab. Not a ton of value, maybe $50, but for $2, I'll take it all day long. And thankfully for listening to those YouTube videos and podcasts, I knew about it, or else I would have passed right over that one. So then I went to another, actually an LCS that's a little south of me on my travels, and I picked up a few books down there too. And the first one I'm going to show you is Metamorpho #1. Again, a cool off DC, like dark DC character. Not sure if there's going to be any use of this guy in the DC universe with James Gunn. I know this is not his first appearance. He was a Silver Age character, but again, a #1 with a new volume. I'll pick it up for $1 because this was in their dollar bins. Next one I picked up was X-Men and the Micronauts. Now, the Micronauts will not be in the Marvel Universe because Marvel does not have the rights to the toys. But my son was a big fan of this. This is one of the first books he bought himself because he saw #1 on the Micronauts annual #1. So it's a running joke, he and I, that when we see Micronauts books, we grab them. So for $1, I'll pick it up. It's got the X-Men, so that's cool too. The next one, another #1, but this is a pretty cool character that I enjoyed back in the 90s, and that's Deathlock. I have his first appearance in Astonishing Tales number, I think it's number 25 or 26. I've been looking for his number 1 for a while. Sleepwalker as well. Darkhawk was another one from the 90s, which I have his number 1 issue too. So almost a trifecta of Deathlock, Sleepwalker, and Darkhawk. So this is in good grade too, and for a buck, I'll take it all day long. The next book, these ones go hand in hand. Looking for this one for a while as well. This is Spec Spider-Man 1. This is 158 and 159. These are the first appearances of Cosmic Spider-Man, which was in this book, and this is a continuation of that story. Cosmic Spider-Man was one of the coolest Spider-Man I read back in the day, and wanted to doing some research what his first appearance was. Realized it was 158. Been tempted to buy it on eBay, but when I was at the LCS, they had some back issues. I walked over and it was there, so I had to grab it. Not a whole lot of value, but still a really cool character. He actually fought the Hulk in Amazing Spider-Man 328, a McFarlane book. Actually, McFarlane's last Amazing Spider-Man work, and it was a really cool book itself. So I wanted to get his first appearance. And the last one from the LCS was Miracle Man number 9. I've been slowly trying to get the first 10 issues of Miracle Man, and actually I think it's the first 15 I'm going to go for. I have 1, I have 2, I have 5. Number 9 is not a whole lot of value, but it's got quite an interesting depiction of a birth scene in here. Pretty graphic. When I read that note on Key Collectors, I said I got to find it. Looked online. Pretty pricey for online, but for, what was this, $5 I think. I'll take it. It's in decent shape. The scene is pretty graphic, so it's not for kids, but it definitely is a cool book. It's a cool run. Miracle Man, I believe, well written, well drawn. It's a good series from the 80s. So the last stops I made were in the other part of my state, so over in Philadelphia. I hit a bookstore, and I hit a called Second and Charles. It's a gaming, record, comic store, trade paperbacks and whatnot. So Second and Charles, I'll show you first. That place had some huge bin full of, comics range from $1 to $20. So I picked through it pretty good. Another Miracle Man. This is Miracle Man. This is number 5 of the 5-issue series. Again, Marvel reintroduced Miracle Man recently, and this is part of that run. Just grabbed it because it was fairly cheap. Because like I said earlier, I was getting into Miracle Man and trying to finish out that run. Got a couple of these Grimm fairy tales. Again, these do have some value depending on who drew the cover. These are quite racy, but again, it depends on who drew the cover. So there is some value in these books, a little bit more than what they were priced at, so I grabbed them. Next one, this is not for the faint of heart, but when I see it, I usually try to grab it. Red Room, Trigger Warnings by Eddie Pisker. This is quite graphic, not for kids, quite demented, but there is an audience for that. So next one, Amazing Spider-Man. This is number 7, so a new volume of Spider-Man. This is back in 2014, but we have a first appearance of another Spider-Man, the UK Spider-Man. So maybe he'll make an appearance in the new movie coming out in a couple weeks. We're only about, actually less than a week away, so that might have been good timing on that one. In regard to movies, Captain Marvel. This one is the fried pie variant. This is number 1. This has some value, still in the wrapping. So for $1, I'll take it all day long. And the last 2 from that store were one of my favorite characters from the 90s. We have Exo Manowar number 1. This is the Legends variant, and this is the regular first issue of this 2017 series. So not a ton of value in either one of these books, but I was a pretty big Manowar fan, and I want to grab any number 1 I can find of that. But then when I was in Philly, I stopped at another antique store, on the way there and grabbed 2 books. First one is another racy cover. This is a J. Scott Campbell cover, Gen 13, a little racy, but again, I think this was $1. I'll take this for any day. There's some value to this one. There's a first appearance of a character on the cover. And then I found, I only had a half hour at the store, that's why I only have 2 books, but I found the Ghost Rider number 31. This is the first full appearance of the Midnight Suns, one I've had and recently sold, and was happy to get it back for $2. So now I have number 28 and 31 in case the Midnight Suns make an appearance. The last book that I got at a little rinky-dink bookstore in downtown Philly, Scud number 9. This is from 1995. This is the first cover, like action figure type cover ever made. The book was pretty beat up. I was able to press it, clean it, and bump it up a little bit, give it a little more curb appeal, we'll call it, a little more, it shows better. But this book was like $3, you know, and high grade, it's probably a $50 book. You don't see it every day, so so I was happy to pick it up for a couple bucks. So now that was all the books I found over the course of the last week. Online auctions, local antique stores, gamer stores, garage sales, you name it, I hit them all. It's probably spent maybe, I don't know, $150, $200 on all the books, all the comics, and I think I did pretty well. But let me show you some of my favorites. Just to reiterate, Cosmic Spider-Man first appearance, Miracle Man number 9, graphic birth scene, just something you don't see every day. Death of Kraven, cool Mike Zeck cover. Midnight Suns, first full appearance. Exo Manowar, the Legends variant, just a cool cover. Another number 1 Exo Manowar, one of my favorite characters, like I said. Scud book, and first Scarlet Spider. So all in all, I think I did pretty well. Let me know in the comments what you think. But we're going to keep on hunting, and you do the same, and look to see everybody in the next video. Peace.
Absolute game off. Nerd!